Guys, and today I want to talk about who will the Atlanta Hawks be drafted in this year's NBA draft. They have the 16th overall pick, and right now on my mock draft, I wouldn't be surprised if they find themselves drafting a guy like Ochai, Agbaji, or a guy like AJ Griffin or an Usman Dang. So let's get right into today's video and let's talk about who they could be drafting and why. So first off, I think they should be looking at Ochai Agbaji, the most outstanding player at the Final Four this year. Agbaji's game could really translate to the NBA. Yes, he's just Malik Beasley, who's better at defense. He's an elite 6'5" catch and shoot player who hit 41% of his threes on nearly 7 attempts per game this season. He also is an efficient scorer in transition and cutting. He's become more comfortable putting the ball on the floor and handling the ball when necessary. Defensively, he's strong, tough, physical for a wing, though he lacks the elite measurements that you would want from genuinely plus defenders in the NBA, as he has like a 6'7", 6'6" wingspan only. But he holds his own and won't make mistakes. He might just end up as a role player, but his solid defensive play and shooting make him a good player for the Hawks to target when looking for a running mate with Trae Young, Kevin Huerter, and DeAndre Hunter. And the Hawks have also valued high-level collegiate producer as opposed to raw projects. Now, the other guy that you could see is, I think AJ Griffin. AJ Griffin is the other guy that they could be looking at, and why AJ Griffin is just a phenom. If you guys haven't been following him, this guy, AJ Griffin, could be the best of both worlds. He's one of the youngest players in the draft, but will also come into the league with the skill that every team wants, shooting. Griffin shot 44.7% from three this past season on 4.1 attempts per game. And this past season, the Hawks had some games where they struggled from three. Griffin would fill an immediate need. And Griffin is only 18 and played smaller role with Duke. And there's a possibility that there's more creation ability to discover and unlock in his game. Additionally, if Griffin buys into Nate McMillan's defensive philosophies, the Hawks could have one of the better 3-and-D wings in the draft at 16, and that'd be really dope. Though Griffin was a poor defender this season and had a lot of games where he wasn't quite visible for teams, as for a guy who's a potential top 20 pick. Additionally, he's had a few injury questions over the years. Will he showcase more athletic explosiveness the further removed he gets from missing large parts of his final 2 high school seasons? He's not necessarily a wild card, but evaluators differ in their opinions of him depending on the value they place in certain skills. And Griffin continues to remain polarizing for teams largely because his value rests on the philosophical question: how valuable are shooting and shot making if they come at the expense of potentially everything else? Now, the last guy I think we should talk about is it going to be Usman Dang or is it going to be somebody else? Okay, because I think there's a few options here that we could talk about, and that is Usman Dang. Because I think, look, again, this is a team that at number 16, there are different ways the Hawks go with this pick, but with one of the biggest needs, you could argue, being wings, I think the Hawks could take Ochai. His age isn't an issue, mainly because of the youth of the core group in the Hawks. At 22, Agbaji could fit with that group. He's catch-and-shoot player. He comes off the screens and makes solid cuts. He fills a defensive need with his physicality. Agbaji can shoot, which is an element the Hawks need. Shot almost 41% from three last year on 7 attempts. And Agbaji does lack some playmaking and self-creation, which are some other aspects that the Hawks need, but here they can address the need for a wing that can shoot. And now especially, but it's still early on, like they can look at Usman Dang and Tari Eason. Prospects that were off the board that I would have considered were Dyson Daniels and Malachi Branham and Benedict Mathurin, but I have them all off the board. So Usman Dang and Tari Eason are 2 guys you could think of. Like, if you guys don't know who Usman Dang is, Usman Dang, 6'9" guy who had a great defensive effort late in the year for the New Zealand Breakers of the new Australian NBL. He was terrific late, averaging 13.5 points in his final 12 games, shooting 48% from the field, 36% from three. And at first he looked bad because the game was moving a million miles an hour for him, but it slowed down. He's not a crazy athlete, but he can shoot, pass, and dribble for a guy his size and his age at a high level. And he's worth a swing at 16 if they wanted to. And then Tari Eason, you're a fan, he's one of the more productive players. He's 21, 6'8", 17 points a game, 7 rebounds, 2 steals, and a block while shooting 52% from the field and 36 from three. Yeah, his jumper is a little bit messy because he has a catapult-like release, but it'll take some time to iron out. And he's not a great playmaker, but defensively, there's very few prospects in this draft who can guard 1 through 4. And I honestly think that if you look at the perimeter players they have in DeAndre Hunter and John Collins, that I really think Tari Eason could fit right there and give them another forward, you know, for better versatility. And that's something they lacked last year when DeAndre Hunter missed some time with his injury. So I want to hear your thoughts down below. What would you do if you're Atlanta Hawks? I think they're going to draft over here. I don't, you know, I really do think they're going to draft because I have Ochai off the board. So I'm going to have them draft Malachi Branham. Yeah, Malachi Branham, because I did not have anybody go there. So, because I had Benedict Mathurin and Jalen Duran go to the Hornets, and then I had the Hawks. Oh, not the Hawks. The Cavs draft AJ Griffin, arguably, and I would say the Hawks should draft Malachi Branham. Or if the Cavs don't draft AJ Griffin and they draft Malachi Branham, have the Hawks draft AJ Griffin. So basically, just draft the 3-point shooter wing. Whoever's the best 3-point shooting wing draft.